Hello everyone, Raidwood here, back with another Godforge video and with our new Green Knight background. Actually, I'll just move myself down here so you can enjoy that more as well. Today's Tuesday, which means Fateless have dropped a video. This one is taking another particular look at the beta. So some of that we already know, so I will skip a lot of that and we'll only focus on some of the newer stuff. So should hopefully be a shorter one today. But I guess we'll find out at the end. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, as usual, I will put the link to the Fateless video in a pinned comment down below. Now, the thumbnail says sort of the beta is 70% done, and he goes into details of some of the things that are and aren't complete. And I personally, I think it's hard to quantify that 70% if you've got like 2 environments out of 5 done. That's only 40%, and then 90% of the heroes done. Again, that's 90%. So how they work it out, I don't know. But we're almost 3/4 of the way there. Not long now. So, yeah, we'll go get the headphones on and we'll listen to what Simon has to say. So the start of the video is talking about the date of the beta, okay? Now, initially it was supposed to be around March. That got shipped back to April, May, and they've now said it is going to be May. And the first sort of bit of this discussion is talking about how there's 2 conflicting sides of the audience, I suppose. Some of them saying it looks ready to play now, just ship it out now, and others are saying, you know, no, wait until it is as perfect as it can be before we have access to it. Now, Simon is very much on the quality side and waiting till then, and that's sort of what he's just explaining here.
We currently have, this is an interesting one, we currently have a launcher that is working on PC, Mac, Android, iOS. All of the platforms really that we want to launch with, we can already play our version of the game on. So if I go into the experience here on my PC, Alt-Enter already works, by the way, to make it full screen, which I like. Some games don't do that. It's very annoying. And yeah, obviously we've just got like a cinematic, which is done. I'm not showing you it.
No, show us. So, you know, spoiler alert. So I was actually watching this. No, I wasn't. I wasn't watching it. I had it on in the background whilst I was at work driving my van. And I was reading. I wasn't reading, but I saw in the YouTube live chat, Grim said that he had actually had to cut this little bit down because Simon showed too much. And so this is a message directly for Grim. Grim, I thought you were on our side. I thought you were helping us get all these leaks. When did you undergo this new training program to cut it out? I'd like the old Grim Black, please. Anyway, so we're just going to, now that's out the way, just going to rewind it back.
Some games don't do that. It's very annoying.
Mute Simon for a second. So the start of the cinematic. So we have someone moving across there. There's some sort of legs, someone running away. You got Viking shields on the floor. Oh, that is spicy. Viking shields, fire. Now, Vex, who's another Godforge content creator, believes that there's going to be something to do with dragons, is the storyline. And in the podcast with Mad Kappa, there was also Mad Kappa suggested perhaps a story about the Titans coming back and all the gods having to band together. And Simon and Shams sort of insinuated they'd maybe taken some of the ideas from Mad Kappa and sort of worked on that. So who knows, but a lot of destruction here, fire going on. So someone obviously fleeing the violence, but damn you, Grim, for cutting it out.
I'm not showing you it, but it is done, ready to go. We're actually going to live release it at GDC.
Gonna live release it at GDC. I'll have to find out when GDC is. So here we got the first little bit of sort of the campaign, which is cool to see. Brunhild acting in place as the arbiter. Now, also, fun game, guys. Anytime Simon says the word placeholder, take a shot. All right. Brynhild probably isn't going to be the one who's here at the end, but she is a placeholder. And we can see Ramses is here with the Nubian warrior, the mummy, and this, I believe, is King Tut. Now, we saw his portrait in the last video. I also made a website post pointing that out. And yeah, this is who I believe to be King Tut.
So there's going to be a launch event at GDC, which is going to be very cool. Keep an eye on our socials for information about that. Have like a first-time user experience, which is, there's some stuff which is placeholder, and a lot of what you're seeing in terms of lighting, shaders, and stuff like that is placeholder. But ultimately, we're moving in the right track to be very ready for beta. Like we could release where we're at with first user experience today, and it would probably be enough for beta. So this first-time user experience is working. This is very placeholder, but it's got the right sort of vibe of what we're after. So kind of like choosing your dude. Anything here is placeholder, but it's
4 shots, everyone, if you're playing the game.
starting to move in the direction that we want it to be. So the type of vibe that we're looking for from the Sanctum is kind of this vibe, but this is all placeholder stuff.
Number 5. I've actually done a video on the Sanctum. I love the light airiness. You know, this battle, the way it all sort of pops out is great, but I dislike everything being so close down here. And the Adventures of Adam actually made a good point, not something I thought about. So you should go check out his video on this, but also on jiggle physics, is that if you've got a big tablet, the button's in the middle and you've only got little thumbs, you won't be able to reach it. And I didn't think about that, to be fair, but yeah.
This vibe, but this is all placeholder stuff. The Godforge is completely placeholder.
6 shots for everyone.
But again, the vibe starts to feel like we want it to feel. So it won't look like this. This is literally just assets we had lying around to try and like create something in the vibe of what we were thinking. Could change, but ultimately, you know, the experience of crunching a crystal, going through and finding your hero, the type of info and stuff is.
Who's that? So we have a lady here with a sword, looking quite sultry. I wonder if that's like Guinevere or something. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting, Guinevere.
Info and stuff.
Or, I mean, it could be the hero that was doing the sword cloth animation that we saw, again, in a video that came out last week. And maybe Grim has blacked it out so we don't see her. Grim, is this you? Is this you again?
Is there. But again, placeholder right now. But a beta, that might be good enough.
7.
Actually, that might be good enough for the beta, but it definitely won't be the screen we see for launch. At this point, all of these different elements, almost certain, will be in the game, actually. And off the battle sort of screen, again, we like the feel of what we're doing here. It might end up being that it's changed a bit, but ultimately the sort of feel of it feels good. When we get into, you know, like campaign, so for beta, we're hoping to have 5 maps fully done, ready to utilize. At the moment, we've got 2 which are extremely kind of like good to go with the right hero placements and that type of stuff. But yeah, by beta,
It's interesting by beta that they want to get 5 done, and they've got 2 done to this point. Now, a lot of that's going to be learning curves, like they're learning to put the, you know, campaign together and how it all works. But it's taken them however long to get this far. Getting another 3 done in, what, 3 months, potentially? Seems like a lot of work, but, you know, if they can just sort of copy and paste a lot of the sort of like the background stuff and just change the art, then I can see that happening quite easily. But if they've got to re-go in and program everything all again, that's a big ask.
we want 5 by launch. We want the full 10 for campaign with all of the assets done. And what?
So, we're going to pay particularly close attention here now, in case we see anything else that we've not seen.
Kind of have to put in the work right across the game to be able to do this stuff. Let's throw a couple.
Okay, so that is Hippolyta. Hippolyta with some sort of HP aura. Also a cunning hero, rare. So I can update that on the site. That's interesting. Oh, by the way, speaking of site, it's taken me a while to do it because ultimately this is all new to me and I only have so much free time. But the search engine works. It's not pretty, but if you type in a particular hero that you want to see, it will take you to, or it will only bring up that page and the faction page that they are in, rather than everything I had ever created. So, thumbs up to me. I'm now working on changing all of the hero pages, and because I can't just like click and do it all, apply to all at the same time, I'm having to do it all individually. I've got a couple of hiccups with them, but they're going to look a lot better. So, stay tuned on that one too.
Heroes in here. Some are animated, some are not. And that's kind of what I mean, honestly, in terms of the work. But, you know, the general feel of the game at this point.
Oh, Unc Hesseneman in game as well. That's cool.
Is close to how we want it to feel. But there's still a lot of stuff to tidy up. You know, some of the portraits are not right at this point. Some of the UI is going to change. We've done a big like revamp of it on the main build. So what you're seeing is kind of, I'd say, moving towards maybe 70% there, but not by any means 100%. You know, you can see in someone like a Herc here, the jump smash feels pretty good, and I kind of like it in terms of visual.
You imagine this camera will change, right? And this is something that I actually brought up in my podcast. Like, how are they working with this, especially with larger heroes? Like, if this is a massive dragon, it's going to cut out everything. How are you going to see it? And that morning, Simon had literally just got out of a camera angle meeting. I didn't really get much of an answer, unfortunately. But this is the one thing that concerns you. But I imagine it will be sorted before come launch.
You know, some of the animations are purely placeholder. Like this one,
Number 9, she's using Anubis's abilities.
purely placeholder, but still kind of looks pretty cool.
I mean, that looks really cool. That sort of swing back with a sword and then a massive laser coming out. Looked pretty cool. Now, this must be Guan Yu's actual ability emoticons, I suppose. So I can put those on the site as well. And one thing I noticed is he actually places a drop defense, which is exciting.
And all we've done is we've remapped someone else's animation onto her for the demo at this point, right? So you know, Guan Yu, again, he looks pretty sweet. His placement is good. He's using someone else.
He's using Musashi's
ability, but it doesn't look terrible. You know, so when maybe you see some of the stuff that we're showing.
Or maybe that's Musashi's ability buttons or emoticons that we saw.
Right now, and it doesn't feel quite right. That's because it's not, and it's not intended to be at this point. But by beta, anything we show you, which will be about 100 of the heroes, that's what we're aiming for beta, they will be pretty.
I mean, Lady Zoc with Anubis's animation looks pretty cool, and I love Anubis's side animations. They look so good. I think it actually suits Lady Zoc, to be fair.
Beta, they will be
Bang!
Pretty clean, like by beta, so by May, and that's why we're kind of like holding off on time, because we want it to feel clean, right? We want it to feel like the experience should feel like. And obviously for launch, we'll then have all.
Now, this I thought was really cool. Okay, so we're seeing Ramses in game for the first time, as well as, say, Unc Hesseneman and Osiris in the game as well. Now, something I actually mentioned in the Discord, I'll sort of spoil it now, I suppose, was this the giant rig that they were using? Because Osiris is significantly taller than his two counterparts. Obviously, the heroes here look larger because they're closer to the camera, right? And Simon said that this was actually placeholder, and they're just trialing. This is what the campaign bosses will look like. They will naturally be taller. That's the sort of the direction they're aiming for. But let me know in the comments down below. I actually really like the fact that someone like Osiris, a god, is bigger than the human counterparts. It just feels quite thematical that these gods are, bigger, stronger, tougher than your usual characters. At least that's the way I think, and I'd love it if they could keep it this way. But I can understand why they wouldn't, because in the campaign boss they're going to have to make even bigger. Does that then, affect the giant rig? Speaking of the giant rig, how much bigger is the giant rig than this, if it is at all? What does Yidre go? I think I got that right. Paul, don't hurt me. How does he look compared to this? All these things, but I actually really liked the aesthetic here.
All of the heroes. So right now, it's kind of like a stand-in. What could a...
I just think it looks great. A god amongst two mortals.
Campaign boss feel like? This isn't obviously not finished, right? Look, it looks weird, but it's not far off the type of vibe we want. I feel like we're a bit close to them. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but ultimately it's not a million miles away. And, I think I've said it right the way through. So I'm being as honest with you guys as I can. We're showing you the development cycle, which is unusual. And because of that, you're seeing stuff, a long time before it's finally ready. And therefore, you might be looking at it thinking, it looks close enough to be ready. Why are you pushing back the beta? Pushing back the beta because it's not going to be ready by April when we thought it would. It's going back a bit because we need more time to polish stuff up and make it feel really good. But a lot of the systems are in, like, being able to put debuffs on enemies, buffs on us, all of that's working. But, it just takes more time to get it done. Like, this guy's dead. Why is he not on the ground? All that type of stuff is little bugs that we need to fix because we don't want
Look, see, here's the debuff, the defense
that
down.
experience for anyone.
So is that Guan Yu that has defense down? I mean, certainly his animation, or at least that one is. Perhaps his first ability we saw was Musashi's, but maybe that's what he has on his A1.
In game. But let's let this bad boy play on auto for a second. Herc brings in the smash. Lady Zoc takes down Cyrus. Guan Yu gets involved as well.
Something else we saw actually earlier in the week is they actually have 3 times speed available on top of 2 times. So that's cool sort of quality of life for people.
And, we move on and we get some stuff. So,
So that was the end game menu. So something that
get some stuff.
Brad mentioned in one of the podcasts was some of the details I want to provide, like damage and how long did it take, healing, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's not here at the moment. We're winning some 5-star gear here, some legendary gear, and the more I see this, the more it sort of proves to me that the reliquary in the original demo with the weapon at the end was definitely one of the weapons.
So, that's the experience of gameplay is not a million miles away. In terms of the roster screen.
So actually something to mention. So Darren, one of my watchers, I suppose, shout out to you, mentioned that the one thing that, he thought was odd was the backgrounds for a lot of these heroes show the, what's the word, culture or mythos at the height of their power, except for the Aru. So we'll take a look at that and we'll see, see what we think.
So we've got some heroes which are more animated than others. I do have a key where I can properly look at my heroes. I'd say, again, this screen is kind of close, but it's not finished. It's just, the background image is probably going to change. Some of the kind of characters still need a bit more work. Some of them are posed weird, and it's all stuff that we just start to fix, really, and start to improve.
Oh, look at Set. Okay. And this is what Darren was saying, the Aru background is the pyramids as they are today, sort of all dishevelled might not be the word, but run down. And he does have a point. It's not something I mentioned. I'm sure it is just placeholder, but I do agree with him. But more importantly, Set. I knew it was Set. I just knew it. Epic hero, the god of the desert, the deity of disorder, chaos, and a disruptor. So that's fun to see. Oh, that is so good. Love that.
Start to get a feel for, how some of these dudes are gonna look in game. That's what the demo's doing. The beta, they will be ready to go. There won't be like a hand hovering like this. It's just the way it is. All of this stuff is the polish phase, which tends to come at the end. I'm hoping that gives you a bit of a picture. The beta will not be the full game. It will be a number of the dungeons. It will be the campaign. That's probably going to be it for gameplay, but it's more about feel and kind of like exploration of, heroes and leveling them and using them and seeing if they feel good to you. That's the main aim really for us in terms of our beta. So yeah, beta coming in May. That's the plan. As I say, we will launch when we feel like the game really is ready to be launched, and you guys are going to get the best experience from it. And that's kind of just where it's at. So hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that was helpful to see a bit more of what's going on, and perhaps for me to narrate what feels done versus what feels, kind of like, I don't know, maybe 70% there.
There we are, and guys, so that is the end of today's video. So thank you for watching. Some interesting things shown there. Say also some stuff which we kind of already knew, but it's important to keep reiterating it, I suppose, from their point of view, for people who are new, who've only just signed up and perhaps haven't watched the entire catalogue of videos. So take care, look after yourselves, work hard, but as always, play harder. I'll see you in another one soon. Cheers.